Alright, let's see if we can't get this LT1 out of here. We got everything disconnected now, hopefully. Anyways, this thing's jam-packed in here, so got the tranny out, got the bell housing out, clutch and everything is still on it. So we'll, we got motor mount bolts out and cross our fingers now. Let's see if we can get this thing out of here. Seems like it might be stuck. Huh. It should be lifting right up right now. Apparently that is not the case. Alright, upon further investigation of why this motor was not coming out, well, figured it out, and I'll show you in just a second here. Let's get this thing pulled out of here, and I'll show you what's going on with it. It's kind of a mess with me problem. Kept trying to pry bar and chewing this thing out, and finally figured out what was actually going on. And keep in mind, you kind of do things backwards around here. And if you look how far set back this motor is, look at the clearance I have between the bench right here. If it had the headlight buckets on it, it would not clear to get the motor back in here. This bridge crane moves back and forth, which is awesome, but we got to do things backwards like this, is move the car back and forth instead of the motor, because I only have the hoist in this bay, not in the other bay at all. So we got to come up, move it back, come back up again. Now, to get everything clear, and there's our LT1 heart right there, pulled out. It's got the clutch flywheel. You can see how oily and everything it is back here. Obviously, either the oil pressure sending unit here or the gasket back behind the valley was leaking, throwing stuff down. But there's our LT1 heartbeat pulled out of the Corvette. And I want to show you what was going on with those motor mounts, why it didn't want to come out. I couldn't figure it out. Like, it should just slide right up. Trying it with pry bars and tapping on it, shaking on it. And look at what somebody did right here. There's a tack weld only on one side of that motor mount right there, so it can't come out of the saddle. And there's a tack weld on that side of that motor mount right there, was buried underneath there. You couldn't see that at all. So once we took the bottom studs off of there, boop, no problem. Kept adjusting our pivot weight and thinking that, oh, it had to be pretty balanced with the clutch and pressure plate on it. The front stuff, kept moving the strap forward to get it balanced, and found out, oh, two little tack welds are holding it in. So let's get this thing out of here anyways, and we're going to start mocking up the LS motor to go in here, motor and tranny. Let's see where we go from here. Let's build something badass. What we got going on today? Well, Me and Dave have been working on this 61 Corvette. We're just pulling a billion wires through the firewall, trying to get all these wires out of here, because it's going to have a whole new operating system in it, different computer, different management system, unhooking the throttle cables. We also noticed that there's a couple things going on around here. The existing, hand me one of those motor mounts right behind you, Dave, on the floor. And so the existing motor mounts, we went to pull the motor out and couldn't figure out why we got all the bolts unhooked and all the wires disconnected, and we're pulling up and we couldn't figure out why the motor wouldn't lift out of its mounts. Here, when somebody built this chassis frame suspension setup, I don't know if you can see right in here is a tack weld. They tack welded the motor mount to the receiver cup and everything, only on one side. So we noticed it was coming loose and it was starting to, the bolts weren't in it and everything was free. There's no reason why it shouldn't have been coming out of there, and somebody welded the motor mount to the other half. So that was the reason why we couldn't get the motor out at first. Once we realized that, we were able to take the bolts out here, yank the motor out and everything, get that out of here. But we're gonna try something else. I did some measuring, and for some weird coincidental reason, it seems like everything is going to be pretty close with the LS. These are mounts off of a 2004 GTO. There's some old mounts that I had laying around here, but they seem like they'll fit, so I'll order some new ones of that if this particular case scenario. And we really are limited because the motor actually had about 1/4 of an inch of clearance between the firewall before, and then it's actually notched right here for the balancer to sit down into, so there isn't hardly any wiggle room fore and aft to be able to place this motor. And from just all our measurements, I think this might actually work right here. So and we did actually take the motor mounts that were on the Corvette, and these are actually factory C5 Corvette motor mounts, but they're made to go on opposite sides right here. So I took the one from the driver's side, put it on the passenger side, vice versa, and we just had to do some machining around this boss right here to get this motor mount to fit, to modify it, and that moved the motor mount point from right here to right here. So we're about ready right now. We got our muscle car pan on there. We're gonna see if that clears. We got our C5 Corvette motor mount stands. This is just to be used for mock-up right now. This is a motor that we had on the test run stand, and we're gonna just try to put this thing in there just to see what the fitment is, what other kind of stuff we're gonna run into, what other kind of exhaust stuff. And we do things a lot different around here because of the bridge crane. Is usually that can do that, but that's only in this bay right here. I don't have anything that can pick a motor up right here. So we're just going to push the car forward and roll it underneath the motor and see if we can't get this thing to drop down in there. And let's see if we can make this thing fit. Being as this was a custom chassis, we don't know who made it or what we don't have any blueprints on or anything like that. It's a C4 Corvette front and rear suspension. So I think it's around a 95 or 96. And now we'll roll that car forward a little more. Be close. And down. Oh, I think you got to get underneath your throttle cable right there. mine right here. We started in with mine. Are you
go in a little bit more?
Are you started with your stud?
Oh yeah. And there it is.
What? You serious?
Like a glove. A really tight glove.
Wow. Looks like we're really, really close to the motor, the firewall right here with that valve cover, but what? Wow. That's crazy. So these motor mounts that somebody put on here just so happen to line up with where this thing's gotta go ballpark-ish with the Corvette C5 motor mounts flipped from side to side on here and just modified. So holy cow. Just kind of eyeballed the thing up and took some measurements, but didn't honestly think it was going to be that. I would have never guessed that in a million years, but we're going to call that a win. So obviously we still got a lot more stuff to do. Our motor tip back, but we can't tip the motor back until we swap valve covers or whatever, see if we can, or maybe we lower the motor down a little bit and get some shorter mounts or something too. That's a possibility as well. But we're going to, so now once we get this established where the motor is going to sit here, then we're going to pull everything back out again, and we're going to mate up the, or actually we're probably going to have to put this one together with the transmission under the car, because I doubt that we could get the motor and the tranny swooped down in there all in one piece without the valve covers hitting on here before we drop down into those mounts. But I don't know, maybe we should try it anyways, because it's always so much nicer to put the transmission together after the back of the motor where you're sitting on a bench rather than underneath the car trying to wrestle it around. But that's gonna be our next step here. We're going to get a transmission hooked up to this. It's going to end up running our TKX Tremec transmission, and it's going to be a 5-speed. So instead of a 6-speed, it's a 5-speed. Should put the shifter in a better position. He was had really hard time with the shifter location with that other 6-speed that was in it. That ZX transmission had put the shifter handle way back too far, and there's no kits to bring it up any closer or a different shifter any closer. So we thought the TKX 5 speed is going to be a better fit for it. Hopefully that's the case. We got all our front drive accessories to mock up on here and see how much room we have for all that stuff. But I think everything's going to clear all right and everything too. So we got an LS motor going in a 61 Corvette, and it's actually looking like it's a feasible swap. And we got a lot more stuff coming up. We got our exhaust we picked up, and this is something also that he had the LT1 motor in it with the complete exhaust system all done, and all the headers are done and everything too. But they take, obviously, a small block Chevy takes different header mounts or headers than a LS motor does. So we got these center fit ones. We're going to chop the end of this off, so we'll modify that to tie it in with his existing stainless exhaust system. So we got a little bit more work to do to these, but looks like those are probably going to work out for us as well. With our motor mounts, our headers got plenty of clearance, and we'll probably end up running different valve covers and a coil relocation kit, or we just run longer wires to it once we do the harness and everything. So that'll bring the coil packs. Maybe we'll make something on the fender or something down here for the coil packs and clean up the top. And just going to keep going. Clean, neat installs. That's what it's all about. Time in, time out. It's all about mocking up and getting things to fit right before you do final paint, body, and everything. So stay tuned to this one. This is going to be a super exciting build. We're going to keep you posted on this, show you all our trials, tribulations, and failures, and maybe a success along the way. So stick along with us. Don't forget to ring the bell, comment, drop us a comment down below, give us a like. All that stuff helps, guys. Appreciate it. We're going to keep these videos coming. don't forget to like this video. Click like, throw me a comment, let me know what you think. Ring the bell for those notifications when we get a new video. We got lots more coming up, guys. A lot of cool stuff coming up. I hope you guys are enjoying the ride.